Hi everyone. I got 63rd and got my invite for nationals this past LA regionals. If you guys have not noticed, we had our first episode was on this deck, and it's kind of vindicating to have good results with something we theorycraft here on the channel. So I'm just gonna get right into it. I'll talk about my matchups after I go over the changes we made from the original list. Today I have a whole bunch of people who were there with me at the event. Shout out to Brian who also got his invite. Shout out to Kevin and Walter for also being in the car while I was driving, and then of course my constant co-host Daniel. But yeah, I would like to get started. So three Ariana, three Lady, and three Lord. That's it. So I will talk about Lord more, but this was kind of optimized to just hit engine only and specifically engine only. For example, we're not playing Lovely in this list because one, it's a brick if you hard open it, and it's really hard to get onto a field once she's a brick. So we don't play her at all, and she doesn't really get us access to engine like Lady and Ariana does. So we kind of just maximize that for that particular reason. And the reason why I want to talk about Lord separately here is because with Lord, pretty much every time we were setting card of demise, and I just don't understand why all the trap decks are not just playing this as a package, because this also beats Unchained, and you're not ever playing into talents or thrust with this list simply because you're going to check out the floodgate lineup, and we're only activating Lord in the end phase if we can, and that's pretty much it. So it's like Lord end phase, card demise, and now you draw for turn, and then you're drawing a bajillion cards. So that's the engine with this. For the other spells I played, I only played 3 pot. Let me do it this way. Yeah. So I played three duality, and people are always gonna ask, oh, why not extrav or prosperity? That'll come up later because no extra deck did come up for me throughout the whole event at some capacity, and it mattered in the end. So that's the reason why we're playing three duality. And then here we are with the trap lineup. Like I mentioned earlier with Lady and Ariana, we are trying to maximize on engine as much as possible, especially with the trap heavy lineup. So this is what we have right now. Just 3 and 3, just to honestly just to stick Lady onto board. And then our normal trap lineup was we played three Daruma, three Ice Dragon's Prison, and three Terror. And I wouldn't change this lineup at all. So the big change from our original list to where we have it now was this used to be Compulse, and I did a lot of playtesting, and I was like, damn, Compulse sucks. And I was like, I gotta test this out. Even though one of my floodgates, in theory, conflicts with it, if I just manage my resources properly and play my game properly, Ice Dragon's Prison was like godly, just absolutely insane in every matchup. And then um, three trap trick. I forgot to mention this, but this was just another engine, and this card also becomes like the fourth copy of all of our normal traps. So this essentially is like the fourth Ice Dragons, the fourth Terrors, the fourth Daruma. It could be the fourth Welcome, the fourth Big Welcome. It helps you thin. I actually wanted to play less of this card and play the field spell because if I'm in a scenario against the mirror, the field spell like just wins the mirror like most of the time. So I wanted to drop one copy for the field spell, but I ended up not playing it. And that was like a decision I made like a few days before. I was like, this is the deck list to play. And then lastly, the floodgate lineup was three TCB, three rivalry, and three skill drain. So hold on, let me fix that. So the reason why we chose this lineup is because you want to be able to open a combination of any of these two, and it's pretty much game against most boards. Um, and it was kind of decided like which like floodgates should we play for this upcoming format, and it was kind of decided between me and Daniel like this is the lineup. But if I'm being quite honest, I think I would change TC Boo for Gozen, but TC Boo was pretty. It was awesome when it worked out. You know what I mean? And then lastly, I played three strikes. This is another change I made. These used to be judgments for the main deck judgment. Um, I swapped it out because like if we're in a combo heavy format, strike is just more impactful at breaking boards going second than if I were to play judgment over it. So that's kind of why I opted into it. Side deck, some changes were made here also. So three Gamma Seal, the Erad, three Evenly, three Soul Drain, and then triple Judgment. So post side, depending on if we were going first or second, we kind of made the concession that Erad goes in every time, and then uh, evenly Gamma Seal for going second, and then if one of our floodgates stuck, we would try to bring in Soul Drain. If not, it would just be Judgment, just to check if they make us go first. And yeah, this is my deck profile. I am out of breath. Never done one of these before. Didn't think I ever would. But yeah, to go over some of the matchups that I had, round one was against the Mirror, and that guy cooked me. Like he was doing some super cool stuff. So he had a second normal summon engine outside of Ariana, and it was the tour guide package with Phoenix Rhino, and he made Cherubini, and he dumped the furniture piece. I was like, oh, I'm about to get destroyed in this mirror. So I hard lost that match. Game two in that set, I eradicated him draw phase game two, and he just showed me six monsters, and I just scooped. I was just like, I can't play. I lost too much advantage trying to blow him out, and he just had six monsters in his hand. And I was just like, all right, it's just fine. Round one, it's whatever. I'll just move on. Round two was against Pure Eldritch. I lost the die roll here again, and he started his turn with X-Trap. I was like, there's no way I played two mirrors back to back, on the same day. So I was like, all right, whatever, fine. He says five, I said five, and then we just kind of just traded uh, removal. So he used his Eldritch cards for removal, and I used my normal traps as removal in the matchup. And like, I eventually just outpace him because he can never stick a Golden Lord onto field with TCB up. Because it would either be stuck in a trap monster or he would just be stuck on Lord, and I would just beat him down with Lady. So that's kind of what I ended up doing. Round three was against the Adventurer Horus PK deck, and that deck is wild. Like that's definitely a matchup I wish I played better in, or tested more. But that end board they build is nice. Like it's a threat. It's very hard to crack. I couldn't do it game one or two, and so at the end of round three, I was already X2, so I was like, damn, this sucks. Round four, I played against the Shark deck. I lost the roll in that matchup too, and that guy made double toad. So I was just like, okay, that's fine. And then I looked at my opening hand. It was two duality, two lady, and I was like, yeah, I'm not playing this game. Game two, I have him under skill drain and Erad, and I just like FTK'd him because he opened two talents, two thrusts, and then two pots in his hand. And I was like, oh, I just ripped six cards out of your opening hand. My bad, bro. And then game three, he's like, let me show you triple toad again. And that's I just can't beat that board going second with my current lineup because Toad's just taking resources away. So that kind of sucks. So after round four, I was already X3, and I was like, all right, I'll just keep playing until the rest of my card drops. And I just kept winning after that. So round five, I was against Unchained, and I won the roll like for the first time all day. And I opened Lord, set four, and then he set four, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I just drew Ariana for turn, and I started just poking him, and then he just didn't play game one at all. So I didn't have an idea of like what he was playing game one, and then game two, he has me go first again. I was like, okay, peculiar, fine. So I opened Lord again, and then with Lord I set Card Demise, and he's like, wait a minute, you set what with Lord? I was like, yeah, I set Card Demise, and then since I had Lord, he just couldn't play, and I just killed him turn two. But yeah, this deck puts up bodies like no other, because I went Lord, I had Ariana, and then I had Lady on board, so this is 76, and then any combination of like Big Welcome to bounce something, or like Welcome to summon something else out, or Ice Dragons to take and not banish. It was just like game pretty much every time. They just couldn't beat through it ever. And then what was my other matchups? Round six was against Blackwing, and I actually got deck checked this round. He hard bricked, and he just like activated the Black Whirlwind card. here, and then he's like, go ahead. I was like, oh, okay. So I just like kind of steamrolled him through engine. He just couldn't play ever. Eventually, I put up like a floodgate, and he just couldn't play at all. He couldn't play through TC Boo at all. So I was just like, Ariana attack with TC Boo and like four back row, and he just couldn't play. Game two, we got deck checked here, and the sad thing about this round, and I feel really bad for him because like I felt like he didn't get a chance to play this match, and like that's always a bad feeling. And I say that because we finished siding, he looks at his opening hand, then the judge walked over to us and was like, "Hey, you guys are getting deck checked." And then after the deck checked, he gets a warning for having damaged sleeves, and I was like, "Oh, dude, that sucks." And then he looked at his opening hand, he bricked even harder than game one. He's just like he just gave me the win. He just couldn't play. Pretty much, it was just like well, he didn't give me the win. He tried to play, and he just kind of realized like his run for that event was over. Um, but yeah, he just couldn't play at all, and I felt kind of bad for him. Minadium, I actually had a lot of testing with Minadium round seven, and I lost the roll, but he made me go first. So I was like, okay, I have Lady in hand with four back row. I'm chilling, and then he hits me with like a main deck evenly, and then I was like, oh, that's awkward. My judgment's no longer in my main deck, and I'm. It's funny to me because like I had a strike set when that happened, and what I ended up doing was I kept the rivalry up because I didn't know what he was playing yet, so I kept rivalry and I had the lady in hand. Since evenly resolved, I just summoned lady with the rivalry behind it, and then he just like, oh shit, and he just couldn't play because of rivalry. So he just was not expecting me to keep the rivalry. He just expected me to keep engine. So I won game one that way, and then game two he like draw phase shifters me, and he sequenced it wrong going first. So it ended up hurting him way more than it ended up hurting me. I actually thought about playing um, DD Crows and whatchamacallit. It ended up playing Shifter, or it was like DD Crow or Shifter or evenly. This was the slot for that. So that it was funny that I was like, oh, that's funny. He sided in a card that didn't know he lost to. So I just took it as a grace from God because he just seems like a matchup knowledge gap, and he just couldn't beat me. Round eight I had a bye no show, and then round nine I was against Madolce. Um, I lost the roll, but he made me go first, so I was like, okay, same song and dance for me. Set four, lady in hand, pass. So I draw phase, activate welcome, and since I didn't know what he was playing, I wanted to play conservatively, so I grabbed Ariana, and then I was gonna make a decision based on if he had anything to interact with welcome or Ariana at all. To then either try to look for follow up or try to establish a lady onto board. But once I activated the welcome and summoned the Ariana, he just scooped, so I had no idea what he was playing. Um, Game two, he goes first, and then just hard bricks. I rivalry TC boo him. He can't play. The only thing, like the only board he had up was like Pink, Fenrir, and then randomly in the match he evenly me because I was like gonna win, and then I didn't have enough damage, and he had an empty board, and he resolved it evenly on me, which was fine because I was just up so much advantage, just couldn't play. And then round 10, funny story with this one. My son Walter played against this guy, like round like 7 or 8 or something, and I avenged him in on the bubble. So that was a fun match too. I actually won the die roll on the most important game of the day, arguably. It was just like I sat on TC Boo and he just couldn't do anything under it, and I was like, cool. Game two, I knew that like rivalry was gonna be bad into the Archfiend deck, so I just like, okay, let me just switch it into Soul Drains, and he just couldn't play at all. It was just Soul Drain TC Boo. I eradicated him for 4 cards, and then he lost 3 cards for 3 turns in a row, and he just couldn't play. But yeah, I finished at table 35 X3, and I started X3 at round four, and just went undefeated for the next 6 rounds with this list. I wouldn't make any changes. If I were to play at the Vegas regionals that's happening this upcoming weekend, I probably wouldn't make any changes. Like maybe there's the world where I decide like TC Boo is not good enough, and I'll play like goes into cover more matchups. But I think overall I wouldn't mind running TC Boo again for one more event just to get the data on it. But yeah, that's the truth. Got an invite.